Hello everybody, we're going to hit you up with another presidential election. This one, the election of 1848. All new candidates going at it to see who is going to be in the White House. Who's that going to be? We're going to find that out right now. It wouldn't have been the same if we weren't sitting on that side of the house. Now, as always, we are going to start off with the incumbent party, and that is the Democrats. The incumbent president is James K. Polk. He not only does everything that he promises to do in 4 years, but he also keeps another promise, and he does not run for a second term. That and his health was failing anyway, so the door's left wide open for the Democratic nomination. The presidential candidates coming down to Michigan Senator Lewis Cass, Supreme Court Justice Levi Woodbury of New Hampshire, Secretary of State James Buchanan of Pennsylvania, and former President Martin Van Buren of New York, trying for the third time to go for that second term. But at the end of the day, it is going to be Lewis Cass that is going to be nominated as the Democrats' choice for president. Van Buren had earned for the nomination, and he wanted it on a free soil platform, but that didn't happen, and he didn't get the nomination. And the Democrats end up choosing a platform that remains silent on slavery, and as a result, many anti-slavery Democrats walked out of the Democratic National Convention because of Cass being suspected of being pro-slavery, and they formed the Free Soil Party, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Now, we also have a list of candidates for vice president. We have Kentucky's William O. Butler, John A. Quitman in Mississippi, Alabama Senator William Rufus King, Secretary of the Navy John Y. Mason of Virginia, Congressman James I. McKay of North Carolina, and Mississippi Senator Jefferson Davis, the future president of the Confederacy. But at the end of the day, it is going to be Mr. Butler who's going to win the vice presidential nomination. Now that we have our Democratic ticket, we're going to get into the Free Soil Party. Now, the Free Soilers were once again composed of the people that walked out of the Democratic National Convention, and these guys organized into the Free Soil Party in order to oppose further expansion of slavery into the Western Territories, because these were the territories that we acquired after the Mexican-American War, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. But much of its support came from disaffected anti-slavery Democrats. Their list of presidential candidates: Martin Van Buren, of course, New Hampshire Senator John P. Hale, and Ohio Congressman Joshua R. Giddings. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Van Buren. Van Buren is going to be the Free Soil Party's candidate for president. He is going to now try to go for that second term for a third time. Van Buren's going to bring along for the ride Charles Francis Adams, Sr. of Massachusetts. He is the son of John Quincy Adams and the grandson of John Adams. Now, Van Buren knew that the Free Soilers really didn't have a chance of winning, but he knew that his candidacy would split the Democratic vote and serve the election to the Whigs. Van Buren didn't care, despite the fact that his life had been built upon the rock of party solidarity and party regularity. I mean, this is the guy who organized the Democratic Party, and he loathed Lewis Cass and the principle of popular sovereignty with equal intensity. This name of popular sovereignty is going to come up in the next election, but just a heads up, this means that any territory could choose amongst themselves. whether to have slavery or not. Now that we have our free soil ticket, let's get into the Whigs. Now the Whigs, they're obviously at a disadvantage. The Mexican-American War starts in 1846, the United States versus Mexico. It goes really well. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo ends the war with victory for the United States, and we acquire almost the entirety of the American Southwest in what is called the Mexican Cession. So the Whigs have to make their choice carefully. And so they can have a chance of defeating the Democrats, despite the fact that the Democrats do have a good record, the economy is going well, and the Mexican-American War went well for the United States. So the list of presidential candidates here, we have Zachary Taylor of Louisiana, Kentucky's Henry Clay, New Jersey's Winfield Scott, Massachusetts Senator Daniel Webster, Delaware Senator John M. Clayton, and Ohio and Supreme Court Justice John McLean of Ohio. But at the end of the day, it is going to be Taylor. General Zachary Taylor is going to win the Whig nomination. Now, the Whigs really made this nomination out of desperation. They nominated Taylor simply because of his battlefield success in the Mexican-American War. Taylor was vague on a lot of political issues, and Taylor actually had never even registered to vote. So he wasn't really into this, whole politics bit, but he went with the nomination anyway. And the Whigs knew that if they didn't choose Taylor to counteract the record of peace and prosperity and victory that happened under the Democrats, under President Polk, the Democrats would, quote-unquote, kick their hinds. Now we also have a list of candidates for vice president. Those candidates are Millard Fillmore of New York, Abbott Lawrence of Massachusetts, Congressman Andrew Stewart of Pennsylvania, Thomas M.T. McKinnon, also of Pennsylvania, George Evans of Maine, John Sargent of Pennsylvania, Senator Clayton, the Lieutenant Governor of New York, Hamilton Fish, Rufus Choate of Massachusetts, Thomas Ewing Sr. of Ohio, Solomon Foote of Vermont, Georgia Congressman Thomas B. King, George Luntz of Massachusetts, and the Governor of New York, John Young. But at the end of the day, it is going to be Millard Fillmore that's going to win the vice presidential nomination. So, we have the Whigs, we have the Democrats, we have the Whigs, we have the Free Soilers. Let's put these guys all up in the ring, and let's go into the campaign. Now, this campaign was fought without really much in the way of enthusiasm, and it was practically not fought on any issue. Neither the Democrats nor the Whigs made an effort to rally the people to the defense of any important principle. Whig campaigners talked up Taylor's anti-party opposition to the Jacksonian commitment to the spoils system and yellow dog partisanship. In the South, they stressed that he was a Louisiana slaveholder, while in the North, they highlighted his Whiggish willingness to defer to Congress on major issues. Now, the Democrats ended up repeating, as they had for years and years and years, their opposition to a national bank, high tariffs, and federal subsidies for local improvements. Now, the Free Soilers, they branded both major parties as lackeys of the slave power. They argued that the rich planters controlled the agenda of both parties, which ended up leaving the ordinary white man out of the picture. One problem that the Free Soilers did have, though, was that they had to work around Van Buren's reputation for compromising with slavery, which was pretty much well known. Now, the Whigs had an advantage of highlighting Taylor's military glories. And with Taylor, as I've said earlier, remaining being vague on the issues of the day, the campaign was dominated by personality, so this is pretty much a personality contest, and personal attacks, so a lot of mudslinging. The Democrats called Taylor vulgar, uneducated, cruel, and greedy, while the Whigs attacked Cass for being graft and dishonest. And the division of the Democrats over slavery would allow Taylor to dominate the Northeast. Now, the Free Soilers were only on the ballot in 17 states. They had the popular vote, so mathematically Van Buren could win the presidency, but he had no real chance. But they campaigned pretty vigorously, particularly in traditional Democratic strongholds in the North. Now, some Free Soilers were hopeful. They were hopeful that their party was going to play the spoiler effect by taking enough states to throw the election into the House of Representatives. But Van Buren himself knew that this was a long shot. He knew that the Free Soilers really didn't have a chance in heck of winning the presidency, let alone throw the election to the House of Representatives. So the best thing that his party could really do at this point was to lay the groundwork for what they hoped would be an improved showing in 1852. So, campaign out of the way, Americans are going to the polls. Let's see who's going to win this. And it is going to be the Whigs. Zachary Taylor is going to be elected president. He wins 163 electoral votes to 127 electoral votes for Lewis Cass. Unfortunately for Van Buren and the Free Soilers, they do not get any electoral votes. Taylor and Cass split the states, 15 each. This is the first time this occurs. The next time it happens, 1880. In terms of the popular vote, it's going to be 47.3% for Zachary Taylor, 42.5% for Lewis Cass, and 10.1% for Martin Van Buren and the Free Soilers. Now, this is the first election to be held on a single day. From here on in, no more states holding their elections on different days. Every state votes in a presidential election on the same day now. And this is going to be the final election that the Whigs win. But the Whigs are going to contest one more election. But before they get there, they go through 4 years of cray-cray. We'll talk about that cray-cray next time in the election of 1852. And with that, I hope you get a lot out of this video. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, go ahead and watch those if you want. And with that, we will see you next time.